Hello and welcome back to 200 First Dates. I'm your host, Sam Bear. I'm really excited because we have a lot of ground to cover. Apparently, Susie has checked into taking this more seriously. I guess the first 3 weeks she was just fucking around. Okay, sorry, I should have done a censorship warning, but I'm going to put this out there. Susie and I both had very long days. So, whatever kind of censorship we used previously, it is very much out the window right now. And I know that none of you can see us, just hear the melodious tones of our voices, but I can see Susie. She ain't wearing a bra and the nips is out to play, okay? So,
Yes,
it's
they
cold in
are.
her
It's
house.
relaxing.
And for what it's worth, I'll put myself on blast. I'm eating boxed mac and cheese, family size, and I'm not sharing. So anyway, that's where we're at in our life right now. But my point is, Susie has invested in a date diary, and I am so excited about that. We're going to share little snippets of what she's writing, what she's tracking, and she's going to actually share how you can continue to follow this journey and actually see some images associated with us. Yes, we are on social media. We're social, we're grown, we're young and hip and fresh, and that's about it. Anyway, so without further ado, Susie, the alias name, just to also remind everyone, how many dates did you go on this week? Because last week we always end with how many more to go. You were 3 dates down and 197 to go. How many dates did you have this last week?
7. I had a date today.
Oh my goodness. Hey, full-time job. I love this. Okay, before we get into that, um where did you find your date diary?
Okay, yeah. So, well, one here we'll do the smaller one too of Instagram and Twitter. We have 200 First Dates is our handle name, so it's 200 with the numbers, then just first dates. And so we'll start posting little pictures of the page of my diary before I write in it. I'm not going to write in it and then post about the boys, at least not yet. Maybe eventually. But right now you'll see the blank page because they're pretty. But I just mostly I have a work like I have an actual planner, pen and paper. I'm weird, I know, for work, and I was starting to put all my dates in there to keep track of them, mostly so I wouldn't double book myself
Mhm.
because I already did that once this week. And then it looked it looked a little skanky. It looked slutty that it, along with my work meetings was like, and date with so and so tonight. Date with so and so tonight on my calendar. So I thought maybe it was time to separate from my actual adult job and my podcast job. So I went on Amazon.
I love that separation, and I we are not here to slut shame, and we use that word kind of exponentially or maybe like a sprinkle. But I know Susie, like we've talked about this. I've known Susie for 10 years intimately. Maybe she felt that way, but I'm going to throw this out there. Yeah, I'm going to do what you're not supposed to do and tell a woman how she feels. Was your work calendar just getting too aesthetically cluttered?
Well, there
Was
was
it
that too, but also no, it also goes down to of I work in a very male dominated field,
true?
and it was a work calendar that was out and about for that everybody can see it on my desk when
Mhm.
it's open. And I love the men I work with. I think they're wonderful. It's just a lot of them treat me either like their little sister or their daughter. And I really didn't want to explain to them why I had 4 different dates with 4 different guys written down. It's
Tell them
more
to
what it comes down
tune in.
to.
Just tell them to tune in. Okay, so you have this separate
Yeah.
date diary, which I am all about because I am into data collection and tracking, and I've given you so many assignments. Um, so there's a lot of things I say we, but it is you are tracking for no other
Yes.
reason than just so at the end of this we can share the results. What was most successful? What was most common? What was least common? Anything special about this diary other than it's
So,
going to be filled with 200 first dates?
well, I don't think it has enough pages for what I've written so far, but it's No, so I have, their name, where I met them, what day we went on the date, and where we went. And then I have like, just a little briefing of this is what the date was for myself because, the first date I went on of the 7 was on the 16th, which was the day after we were, recording. So
Mhm.
that's a long time to remember little details. And then I have just some lines that I can write some little, positive or negative about the date. And then because, the entire point is what I say I want really what I want. So I have another box where I talk about what I learned from this date, mostly about me. Like, was this,
Mhm.
for example, I said I want someone at my height or taller. I went out with a guy who was shorter than me, and it's like, yep, sorry, I do really want someone who's taller than me. Like, I want someone my height or taller.
I love
It
that.
just
That's we're
didn't
narrowing it
like it. So,
down. We're finding your niche, as it were, which is all the
yeah,
rage in social media. Okay. And it seems like it's a bullet journal, but I was curious, is there anything special about this, or was it on
no,
sale?
no. So this one is. So I actually got two because I had one that it's called my little black, and no one else can see this, but you have video of me, so I'll show you because you can then look
Yeah,
at
I
it.
wanna see it.
So it's my little black book of dating journal,
I
and
can't
then if
believe
you
that
open it,
actually exists. That's
it does.
amazing.
Amazon's great. But like in it, it has like all the prompts about like, my date with, all their information. What do we do? Where do we go? How much did I spend? How much did my date spend? Things we talked about. And then it said my screw ups, my date screw up. And like, rate the conversation. It's like, how was the date?
Wow.
Where we go? So
We're
like,
definitely
it's,
we are gonna share that on our Instagram and our Twitter,
oh yeah.
so that, everyone
Yeah.
can get that. I'm not dating, but I just collect journals, like, it's unhealthy. I have a lot
No,
of
it's not. You
unused
might use them
journals.
eventually. But no, so I took so this is the one that I liked that I did this, but then what I ended up doing was because there were several of them to pick from, I got just a blank little like dotted journal that came with like stencils. So I just created my own page that I was looking at all the examples online of
Mhm.
dating journals and took the pieces I liked from each one and made
Gotcha.
my own.
I
So
love that.
we'll post pictures of what I'm actually using.
Oh, I wish I could say what your profession is, because first of all, I almost just did. Well, we would have edited it out. No one
Yeah.
would have known. But to what your profession is, v like, how you went about this makes so much sense. Um, Again, this
Yeah.
is about dating and a bit about, Susie's and my time in the dating world and our life together, but, yeah, she and I think represent kind of the 2 different sides of the brain in terms of
Oh yeah.
thinking and modality, and so, it's very interesting to me when both of us can, arrive at the same entity, but through completely different channels, so, great, and thank you for entertaining all of my, like, excitement about the journal.
Well, I have really been liking it, and it's the odd thing is that it definitely has become. So I've always been a journal. I always
Yeah,
have a journal. I always did that. It's just different because now it's not just like my daily little journal or little things. This is now me being like, here's my 5 minutes of zen or my like moment of I'm gonna just
mhm.
sit down and relax and write. It just all happens to be about dating right now. So, which haven't done that before. But yeah, so I have that. And then yeah, I guess I should start telling you about my lovely dates because
Yeah,
I did
let's
7.
so you did 7, since you did so many, I'm going to ask, what day of the week was most, um, filled with dates, if it were?
So the weekend was where the majority was, but then and I'll go through because I'll tell you like all the dates because there were a couple days where I did multiple dates on the day.
I love it. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, like, was there a day that had more of the dates?
Yes. So Friday and Sunday I had 2 dates each.
Love it.
Actually, Sunday I was supposed to have 3 dates, but I slept through one.
Oh my god, I am so excited, I love this, and just so as a reminder to everybody listening, and we'll repeat this again, I think maybe on our 5th episode, we'll probably go back through and repeat some of the our criteria for the
Yes.
dates. So, yeah, not going on the date does not count towards the 200 number.
No, it doesn't. And that's
Um,
not one of the 7 I'm talking about. So
wow,
I should
that's
have had
even
8.
better. I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. Okay, we also film at the start of the week. I think that's a little for both of our maybe more my ADHD mind. I'm like, "This is when the week starts, so you'll have the whole next 7 days." Um, alright, so I let's take us through. Tuesday, what happens?
Okay, so Tuesday I went out with lovely gentleman from Facebook date.
Okay,
And we'll just
age?
call him C.
Oh,
He
we'll
is
call him C. So
38.
this is kind of exciting, maybe put a star. This is our first dater, datee, who we are not
Yeah.
revealing his proper name. I love this, okay.
Oh, and I will put part of the journal is when I give nicknames, I'm writing it down so I remember what we call these people. Um,
I love this. Okay,
but yeah,
so C like like the 3rd letter in the alphabet?
yes, yes,
Okay,
C,
okay, so
because his
C
name
was
is
on
a
Facebook
little
date.
unique.
How old?
He's 38, and he's one person normally I would not have said yes to going on a date with him. He's about a foot shorter than me,
Oh, this was the one who
and
solidified that short is not your
yeah,
aesthetic.
not what I want. And like I'm saying shorter than me, like if it's like an inch or two, like that you don't notice, whatever. But I mean, this is if I'm trying to look him in the eye, I'm looking over his head. And I mean, it was not great from the get go. Like, well, I'll say the start of these dates are pretty much all bad dates for this week. And then they
Okay.
get better. They got better at the end.
I'm so
But yeah, no.
excited.
So it's a Tuesday. I go and work out, and so I'm done working out at 8. And I told him I was like, hey, we can meet up Tuesday, but it won't be till 8:30. That's when I'm done working out. He said that's fine. Like 20 minutes before I was, and I told him when I go, I'm like, I work out from 7 to 8. So 20 minutes before I started my workout, and we had already texted and said, yep, we're still on. He texts and says, hey, do you mind if we push it back a little bit? And I was like, well, when are you thinking? And he's like 9:30.
Whoa!
Which I'm like, okay.
On
So
a
I,
Tuesday?
I know I put on my big girl panties and they did not want to go on that night because I was like, I'm doing this. I'm getting my dates in. So I bucked up. I did tell him, I go, that's fine, but understand I'm coming in comfy clothes then. And he's like, what does that mean? I go, I'm coming in leggings and a bulky sweater because I'm gonna be comfy. It's 9:30 at night.
That sounds fair, and I will say, so when you said comfy clothes, because again, I'm gonna out you, but I know that down the line you're like, "You know
Yeah.
what? Time to get you back, Sam Bear. I'm gonna out you." You've gone out on dates in workout clothes, and I think sometimes you let your dates know and sometimes not, but I respect and appreciate your dedication to this, that you said comfy clothes, but the oversized sweater, leggings, I mean, meant that is a relaxed date outfit, but that's still very, like that's a date outfit.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of this is like, yes, I do that on dates, but usually the first date you don't wear. Like, because they weren't. I also am saying it's a baggy sweater and leggings. These were not like your nice leggings. These are leggings like that had been through the wash, so they had like bleach stains on them. They had like these. That was what I wanted, and I told him I was like, "You want to go out at 9:30?" I go, "That's fine, but understand, I'm wearing like my pajama, so like please don't judge me on them. But I want to wear comfy clothes." And we all have those leggings that are comfy, but it's because they're broken in. But so they're not the cute ones you'd wear on a first date.
Oh,
I mean, you
okay.
could, but they're not usually the ones you'd pick.
So maybe you like start off. I don't know, maybe this is something to think about. Like you start off very like this is me. These are my relaxed leggings, and then like the
Yeah,
longer you date someone, like the fancier you get. I have always been maybe not. I'm trying to think back. I'm thinking about Big Red, and I who was someone I previously dated many moons ago. On our first date I was relaxed, but I had a nice top on and jeans. 'Cause I was about to be like, "I always dress up for a first date." Lies. Okay, continue.
no, you don't. But normally you don't wear the stuff with bleach stains on it. But yeah, no. So we met at like an outdoor plaza thing that had a movie theater and has restaurants. And I got there first. I showed up, was waiting for him to meet me. He walks up and he's like, "Hey, how are you?" And he was late, like not a lot, but he was like 5 minutes late. And then while I was there sitting there waiting, I was looking around and I was realizing that everything around us was closing. Cause like all the restaurants that were there, everything is closing because of COVID closes at 10 now
Right,
here.
10 is the
Not
new,
like
like, 11:30 or midnight.
yes. so even like the bars, even like the places that have bars that should, even on a normal, not on a normal Tuesday night, because Taco Tuesday, they'd be open till like midnight or 1 a.m. They're all closing at 10. So I waited. He walked up. We said hi. We said this, and he goes, "Oh, okay. So are you hungry?" And I was like, "Yeah, I could have something to snack on."
Wait, COVID question. Did you hug?
Um, he did. Yeah, we did hug. He went in for a hug, which I was trying not to. So I tried. So we ended up doing that awkward like side hug because I
Ooh.
was like, I don't. I'm like, I don't really. Um.
Oh, and another question. Are you meeting these gentlemen with a mask on?
Oh yes.
And then this is not a mask debate. This is
Yeah.
I'm curious. This is a dating during COVID. Like, how do you show up?
So I had my mask on. He didn't have his mask on,
Strike
but
one
he did put it on.
or
Yeah,
strike
but he
three.
did put it
He's
on.
already at strike three. He delayed the date and he's late and no mask. Okay.
Well, and then he's like, "So are you hungry?" I was like, "Yeah, I could eat." And I go, "But where?" And he looks at me and goes, "Oh," and I go, "Everything's closing." And he looks at me and goes, "Wait, what?" I go, "Yeah, everything here closes at 10." He goes, "Oh, I didn't know that." And he goes, "Oh, well." So then I'm like, "So you also asked me on a date and you didn't plan anything. Like, how
Right.
hard
That's
is it
not a
to
date.
plan a place to eat?"
Yeah.
And you pushed it back till 9:30, so you should have looked up the times.
Absolutely.
So we ended up going to Dave and Buster's. He also doesn't drink, which again, not a problem. We could not drink, that's fine. But it's really weird to be like, "Hey, let's go into Dave and Buster's. I'm not gonna drink," and we didn't play any of the games. We literally sat at a table and ate.
That's, like, so funny because I will say this too, you were with me the one time I went to Dave& and Buster's and not like I went later in life, but I definitely went, like, years after everyone else already kinda goes when they're 21. I was older than that,
Yeah.
and the one time I went, I had a great time, but I also was like, "Yeah, I never have to come back here." Like, this was fun. So that's and I can first of all, can you imagine being the server and you're like, you just came here to
To
eat
eat.
dinner?" Like
Yeah. We just came there to eat. But it was also like he so he works in the restaurant industry too. So that's the other reason why I was surprised when he was like,
That's
"Oh, what do you mean?"
worse.
I'm like, "You
That's
work at a
worse.
restaurant and you didn't know that everything closes? You
No,
are a manager of a restaurant."
it's worse that he works in the restaurant industry and he's like, "Let's go to Dave& and Buster's." I mean, I know that it was open, but it's
Well,
so
and so yeah, so we're sitting there. He also so he got like the dip or what, like the French dip sandwich or whatever, and he ate it weird.
please
Like,
tell
and I
me.
don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to go to
Wait,
this. So
okay.
like, here,
I'm gonna guess. So usually you're supposed to first of all, I'm not a big fan of French dip sandwich because I don't like soggy sandwiches. But you're supposed to like take the sandwich and dip it in the sauce. Did he spread the sauce, the juice on the sandwich?
he like deconstructed the sandwich and ate it in pieces.
Oh, then he shouldn't have ordered that because that's not how you eat that sandwich. That sandwich has rules and you either follow them or you get something else.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just
Okay.
it was ridiculous. So, but no, like I mean, we were talking and it wasn't bad. Like we did have a good conversation going back and forth, but it felt more like an interview or a test because it was like, "What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite '80s like top 5 '80s movies that you like?" Now and I'm like, "Okay, this is now a quiz."
You're like, "Do you work for BuzzFeed? Am I gonna be on
Yeah,
one
like
of
what?
those like
Yeah, like what the
quizzes?"
hell's going on? So oh, hang on.
So what's happening right
Sorry.
now because she's on
I'm
video, she's responding to this whole time for the last 3 weeks after we done record, I'm always like, "Bitch, what were you doing on your phone?" She's like, "It's a full-time job." So she's responding to dates, probably setting them up. Go ahead, text something steamy.
I no, I legitimately was confirming a date that I have for later this week. So
I also
sorry.
want to remind everyone, this is just Tuesday. Like, this is just Tuesday. This is the first
It's
of the 7
oh
dates.
7, yeah. So, but yeah, so I mean, it was like it just it was an and. I was like,
Yeah.
I could have left and been fine. He did pay, which I thought was nice. He did, like say he had a good time. And but like the biggest turn off for me, I just besides the sandwich, because the sandwich is a big turn off, and I don't know why this bothered me, but it did. He's
Mhm.
not this. skinnier, most in shape guy. He's sort of the same height as he is wide.
Oh,
Um, and there's nothing like I don't care about like his size, but when we were leaving, he like thrusted his stomach to open the door. Like thrust slammed his stomach into the door to like pop it open.
that's so gross. No, thank you.
I was like, no, that
No.
just
Ew.
no.
Ew. Yeah, no. So I'm curious because last week I did challenge you to, and I hope you're also writing the challenges down. You got a lot to write down. Um,
Well, now I will be. I didn't have the journal at the time.
well, go back and re-listen to last week. Um, why did you not lemon law this person? It sounds like this would have been a good opportunity.
Because when one of the first things he talked to me about was pretty much about how girls don't date him because of what he looks like and that
Oh
he
my
doesn't
god.
like yeah,
And then if
pretty
you were
much
to get up 15 minutes later.
it's like that's like one of the first things he did was talk about how girls don't date him because he's like, no, I'm not what you would consider attractive, so girls don't go on dates with me, they won't give me a shot. So I was like, I don't
Maybe he
wanna.
also is lacking confidence because honestly, there's a billion people on this planet. Like attractive is so
You're gonna find
subjective.
somebody. And that was one of the things I was like, so it did, because he said that, it made me stay, like, because I did think about lemon lawing it, but I was like, you know what? No, he's making that comment. And I was like, no, I'm gonna talk to him. We're gonna see. Like, you know, maybe this is just a bad start, that, there's just a lot of things against him. Maybe it will turn itself around. And it just didn't.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
gave it a shot. So that was that date. Then on the 18th, so this would be Thursday.
Okay. So great.
So
Wednesday, God's day. You took a break. Just kidding. No. Okay. So
Um, and so I went on a date with my king, who I met on Bumble.
I'm sorry. You're just gonna again, man, I wish people were watching right now. You're just gonna like side eye smile me and act like I'm not gonna stop you, my king.
So I don't know what his real name is.
Oh, this is great. This is the man you're gonna marry. I don't want to hear about anybody else. This is great.
He probably would. But no. So we met
Was he
on
a
Bumble.
Nigerian king? Did he need to ask some money?
No, he is, however, He is a lovely black man who lived in France and has a lovely accent and gorgeous lips, and he is a good kisser. Um,
Awkward. Ahead of C. Okay.
but no. So
Oh, how old is he?
it's he is 39.
Write it down in the write it down. Write it down.
Well, I need to. Yeah, I know. You need to start to. I'll add that. I'll add the age. But he's 39. So his name is obviously fake on Bumble where I met him, and
His name.
we'll bleep this
Hold
out.
on. This isn't even your nickname for him. This is his own nickname.
And it's not my king. I'm not talking about the name my king. This is on Bumble, and you'll bleep this out or whatever. But
Yeah.
his Bumble name is all freaky fun.
Oh my god, I'm not bleeping this out. People are gonna find him. It's too late.
But well, then they'll know where I live.
I mean, you're giving a lot of people a lot of credit and you're giving me a lot of editing credit. We'll see what happens. I'll do what I can.
But yeah, but when we finally did exchange numbers
Mhm.
and moved off the app, um, he responded. It was and I wiped half my text messages accidentally this weekend because there was some drinking going on. We'll get to that.
Strike 1, Susie.
But he had sent me a message about, was it my he goes, how are you, my queen, or whatever, from your majesty. So he called me a queen and then referred to himself as my majesty. So I responded with, sure, my king. And so that's what he went in on my phone as, is
You
my
know what
king.
though? I'm a sucker for that too. Like there are things where you and I fall on different sides of the spectrum and then I think there are like bizarre little nuances that you and I are like, "Yeah, I'm here for this." Sure. I
Oh, I just
like
thought it was
I
fun. I'm
don't
like,
even
this is just a
care.
fun way to start.
Yeah, I don't care if it's cheesy. I'm like, I'm not gonna tell you not to call me your queen. That's
Yeah,
not
go
gonna
ahead.
be a sentence I say.
No, yeah. So we had fun. So we met at like a local. I'm trying to think of what a like chain bar or whatever. It just like a bar. It's a restaurant and a bar. It's a gastropub. Here he was late, but he called.
Okay.
So because it was a Thursday and it was a last minute, so I was supposed to go on a date with somebody else who
Double
didn't
booked.
answer. Well, they didn't answer, like, they just didn't talk. Like, they said, "Okay, we'll go out this night," and then they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't," like, all of a sudden.
Mhm.
So, I was texting my king, and we were going back and forth, and I was like, "Hey, I know this is last minute, but do you wanna go grab a drink?" I go, "Do you wanna go grab a drink tonight?" Because he was saying, "When can we go out?" And that's when I responded with, "Well, I know it's last minute, but what about tonight? Like, I'm free." And he said, "Yeah, sure, but, it has to be, like, this time, because
Mhm.
I work until the," and I was like, "Okay, no problem." So, we were gonna meet up at 8:30.
Okay.
And so I got there, I beat him there, and he texted me, he's like, "I'm on my way." And then I'm standing around waiting. It's like, 5 minutes goes by, and he calls me. He goes, "I'm so sorry." He goes, "I am on my way. I'm just running late, but I will be there." He's like,
I
"I'm gonna be
respect
there in
that.
10 minutes."
I always run late, but I also will say this.
But we all know
Every
you run
date that
late.
I've been late to, I've almost never gone on a second date with that person, regardless of how, like, mediocre to good the first date was. Also, what were you wearing? Because C got the stained grunge leggings and oversized sweater.
I was
How did
I
my
was looking
queen
good.
dress for my well, you're being called my queen, yeah.
Well, yeah, so you have to. So I had my hair down. I had
Love it.
full face of makeup. I had a off the shoulder like peasant baby doll top, and
Mhm.
then tight jeans, and I had just little slip on flats.
Nice.
So I was looking good. But yeah, so I got there first. So I went in and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go in and get a table and I'm gonna order and I'll wait for you. So I went in and ordered a drink. And so I put my card down because I got a drink and they asked, like, did I want to leave it open or just close it out? And I was like,
Mhm.
screw that, I'm leaving it open because then he can pick up my tab. Because at that point I was like, you're 15 minutes late now.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so I was waiting. So then he comes in, he meets up with
Hold
me,
on.
he says
Do
hi.
you have a pen in your hair?
Yeah,
I'm not editing that out. You all can't see it, but we've hit a new level of relaxed. Anyway, you're waiting for 15 minutes.
I always have a hip pen in my hair. How have you not noticed this?
Please just put that for like a week on your profile and like no explanation. Okay. That's your challenge. Anyway,
Um,
back to the
but
date.
But yeah, so he showed up. He came in. He just hugged me right away and said hi. He did have his mask on, but like he hugs me. He's like, I'm so, he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm late. Like he's like, I'm so embarrassed by myself for being this late. He goes, I just did not judge how long it was going to take me to drive here at all.
Okay. Wait.
And I was,
How tall was he? Because you
he's
had your
my height.
short date. Ha, short date. Get it? In length of time and height. Right, okay. You had a short date on Monday or on Tuesday that,
Yeah.
ended. And so I'm
And
curious.
Thursday,
Uh-huh.
he's my height.
Okay.
And he is, so he grew up in France, so he has that lovely French accent too.
Oh my God, Miriam.
Um, might, we never know. But yeah, so then he's like, I'm so embarrassed, I'm so late. And then he orders a drink, and the guy goes, oh, and he's like, oh, the tab is under, and he said my last name, and he started looking, he goes, huh, and he goes, oh, and he goes, you open, he goes, that's offensive. He goes, of course I'm gonna buy your drinks, like I'm gonna. He's like, why would you do that? Like I'm here to take you out. And I was like, I was thirsty. I ordered a drink while I waited. I go, we can switch it over to you. He goes, of course we will. So they switched the tab over to him,
Mhm.
and then we ordered our drinks. He's a tequila man too. Two fingers of tequila. Neat. I
Nice.
approve. I like that.
Nice. Iced or room temp?
Neat.
Oh, right. My bad. Okay, I'm tired, guys. Whatever. You know what? Do you wanna know you know what? You know what? Fine, Imma out myself. Do you wanna know shoot, I just ruined that. Do you wanna know what liquid doesn't freeze in your freezer?
I don't know, Sam. As we're sitting around, what liquid won't freeze?
Oh my
What
god.
one could they possibly? Our RA was talking about this to give us all a hint, and that was because they couldn't tell us, "Hey, don't have alcohol in your room because I'm going to open your freezer when you go home for winter break." And
Because
Sam loudly
arguably, that would
announces,
that would imply that they knew that alcohol was present, but never did anything to get rid of it. But yeah, our RA's running around talking, what liquid doesn't freeze. And I am looking around like I'm just like, oh my God, this is such a waste of time. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Just such a noob. And I say audibly loud enough, like intentional, like, haha, I'm gonna be so funny. future comedian seeking attention. And everyone's going to think I'm brilliant. And I go, "Ugh, there's no liquid that doesn't freeze." Before we clearly, and we've already said the punchline, please no chemists come for me, okay? To be clear, I was a woman who did really enjoy science, but was deterred from pursuing it any further in high school. And by the time college came around, I was so far behind in sciences that I wouldn't have been able to. So, like, don't come for me, come for the education system. So I said, you know what? And probably I actually wasn't sitting next to Suze. We weren't in a fight. Don't worry, guys. I don't know, but we were. She could
You
look
were
at me
sitting
though.
next to my roommate.
I was, and
You were sitting right
and
next to my
Courtney,
roommate.
and
Yeah.
Courtney, because your roommate, the former roommate, she kind of tugged at my shoulder, but it bothered me. I was like, meh. So I don't look at her. Courtney, who was this last I heard, and this was 6 years ago, so who knows? She was a buyer for Target and doing really well. But she was just kind of, God, if she ever hears this, she can correct me. But she looked kind of the visual image is like a Christian girl at summer camp, and I can't get any better than that. But confirm or deny, she's lovely, very nice, but very kind of PK
Yeah.
look, preacher kid look.
Very, very
She,
wholesome, very girl next door.
yes, she leans into my ear and says, "Um, alcohol doesn't freeze in your freezer." And I knew I
Yeah.
could trust her, and then the RA says, "I clearly know one freezer I don't have to search, and now, since I am many moons out of that school, everyone hid their alcohol in my freezer because there wasn't
The
alcohol
one
in it."
freezer
And
you
it
can
was the
just
one
look at.
freezer the RA was like, "I don't have to look in, you know, straight edge McGee's room." Okay, we have veered so far off of this, but this beautiful My King French man demands to pick up the
Yeah.
bill, which we love.
Yes. And then he's like, let's get food. Let's get something to eat." And I do like spicy food, and he does too. So we got like these habanero hot wings. So he orders like 2 orders of hot wings. He's like, "What else do you want?" I was like, "I really just want some shrimp." So he got me shrimp too. So we were eating wings and shrimp, having a great time. We were talking. He was telling me about his family. We were going back and forth, and then we sort of looked up and realized that the place had closed,
Oh.
and we
Oh!
weren't done. Like, we were
That's such
talking,
a good
but, like,
feeling.
we couldn't get another drink or anything, but, yeah, so he's like I'm like, "Oh, I guess we should go." So he closed the bill, he went, he did this, and then we walk outside, and he goes, "Well, do you wanna go down the street to Fat Tuesdays?" And I was like, "I mean, I would, but it's Thursday, and I have to be up." I also, for my job, had to be up on Friday and had to do, like, a 40-minute drive
Mhm.
to be somewhere by 6:30 in the morning, which meant I was going to be
Oh,
waking up at 4:45 in the morning to get ready and go to work.
so you were already kind of not risk necessarily, but I guess so. I think you didn't might not have thought it was a risk, like, "Oh, this will just be like a 1-hour date," but then you guys started liking each
Yeah, I
other.
was like, it was just going to be a 2-hour date, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll be a little bit tired,
Mhm.
but I was like, but I'll go, it'll be fun. Um,
So, he
but yeah, so
he suggests continuing the date, going to this
I was
another
like,
bar.
no,
Right, okay,
sorry,
so what
but
happens?
then he just like grabbed my face, leaned in, and just started kissing me. Um, so nice little makeout session, and he was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure. I'm gonna go home. Like, I had fun." So then he walked me to my car, kissed me again, and then he was like, "Okay." So I was like, "But yeah, no, we have still been texting. We have been
Wait,
texting back and forth."
what number does these are the other things we're tracking. Still have Google number or real phone number?
He has my real phone number.
And would that be because he already knew what car you drove?
Well, yeah, he got to see my car, but he didn't see the license plate or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he got to see my car. He like walked me to my car and kissed me, and so then I left.
Boy, this is a really interesting week. I feel like a lot of energy has shifted because this is the first week where now we're 2 for 2 on nicknames. I think we've also, if we're talking about kind of the things that we're at now versus week 1, you can say with, I believe, absolute confidence and no shame, apology, or guilt that you do not want or see yourself with someone shorter than you.
No, I don't.
Like, with confidence and no shame and no guilt, and I think that's really important to note. So that's we've learned we've learned something that you've never really said. I know you've said preferentially, but it seems like you're very clear.
I'm very clear about that because also I always thought that's what I wanted, so I never gave someone really who was shorter than me a chance. So that's why,
Right.
like in the beginning with these like first ones, pretty much anybody who will say, "Hey, do you want to go on a date with?" I'm gonna go on a date whether it's somebody I normally would have or not, because
Mhm.
of things like, "Hey, I keep saying I want someone my height or taller, but do I actually know that? I need to go on a date to see. Like, is that actually something I want? Because you never know."
Right. Okay. So love
Um,
it. But I wanted to give that affirmation. Okay. So C is done. My king. Oh my
yeah,
god. Oh my god, Miriam. I'm gonna
yeah.
regret this. I mean, I don't want to jinx that, but I get very invested when Susie has a good date. I plan the whole wedding.
This is not the best one. I had better ones this week.
Okay. Okay. Next day, or when's the
Okay,
next
so
day?
now we get to oh no, so then we get to Friday, and
Okay.
Friday was just bad dates, and they were back to back.
Wait, on a scale of your date going into a coma and their mother answering their phone after you left your third screaming voicemail to tell you that they're in the hospital, and when they woke up briefly for the coma, it was to tell their mother about the girl they had just met, to I don't think I'll see them again.
No, I did not as bad as yours. That was, and for everyone wondering, yes, that happened to Sam.
That really happened. You know when you make up in your head all these scenarios? He
Yeah,
legit got
what
it
you
in a
think he's doing with his
motorcycle
friends?
accident and was in a coma for 3 days in the hospital, and he got the coma, well, I don't know, you get a coma? He got the accident on his way to my apartment for a dinner date we had talked about all week, and I'd made dinner for both of us. So, this is before
But it was
COVID,
right in
so
the
my cooking
beginning,
was
so no
terrible.
one knew to call you. It's
Yeah,
funny
true.
now because he's fine. He's fine, and everybody's moved on, so it's funny now. Wasn't funny at the time.
Yeah, I said some things. Anyway, okay. So next Friday date, what is this person's do they get a name or a nickname?
So this is Aaron. He does get a name.
Ah, Aaron, we'll never see you again. We've already got the nick or maybe we will. Shoot, I don't know. I'm like,
Oh, I can do the follow up. Yeah, no. So
wait, where'd
we
you meet him?
ended up going to, so he's from Bumble,
Bumble. Okay, and age.
34.
34. Oh, and then we didn't do career jobs. Can we go back to C if you know what was C's
We said
profession?
see restaurant. He's a restaurant
Oh my
manager.
god, that's right. We did when we were hounding him for okay, great. And what does my king do or what does your king do?
He works for Apple.
Okay, okay. Yay.
So we got
Alright,
enough
and
that.
Aaron
Aaron, so I'm trying to think how to this. He does like HR and like enters HR and like details and everything for I think it's Delta. It's for an airline that he
okay,
inputs all the stuff for HR and for all your benefits and like tracks that for him. So
okay.
he does that.
And how old is
So we
Aaron?
went 34.
34, okay.
So we went to dinner at Pita Jungle, which I don't know if that's national wide or whatever, but yeah, that's where we went.
We don't have one.
Uh, but yeah, so we went there. It was another sort of last minute one because the date I thought I was going on Friday, like another one that he just wasn't texting or responding
Mm,
during the day when I tried to confirm,
mhm.
but Aaron was talking to me. So, and he was like, "When do you want to meet up? Let's do this." And I go, "Well, I'm free tonight, like after work if you want to go." And of course, right after I make plans with Aaron, I get a text from the guy that I'm supposed to be going on the date with tonight about, "Yes, we're still on." I'm like, "Well, fuck." So,
Wow.
so I quickly and this yes, this is bad, but I blame my goddaughter. Of I told Aaron, I go, hey, because we were gonna meet up right at when I got off work, because I get off work at like 4:30, and I was like,
Mhm.
hey, yeah, let's go. I go, just so you know, I'm gonna have to take off like around 7 because I gotta pick my goddaughter up from swimming. Reality, I had another date at 7:30.
Liar. She's a liar.
Yes, I was a liar, but how do you gracefully say, hey, I have to leave our date to go to another date?
I don't know, but let's try it one week. Okay, moving on.
I already tried it this week.
Oh my god, so much has happened this week. We're only on day 3. Okay. Ah.
So
Wait,
no, we went to
how did
Pita
he show
Jungle.
up?
He got there before me.
Ooh,
So
the
he beat
first
me
one you didn't
there.
have to wait for, and was he wearing a
Not when I got because he was at the table.
okay, okay.
So he was sitting at the table, so he had taken his mask off. And he also has already gotten his first shot to be
Nice. Well, and
vaccinated. So
you're a member
I'm
of the
fully
elite.
vaccinated.
She's
Yeah,
we'll add that to her dating profile. She is fully vaccinated.
I am. I have all my shots, and they're up to
Oh,
date.
haha.
Uh, but yeah, so we went there. He was really nice. He was sweet. Um, and this is nothing against people with addiction or anything, but he's I can confidently say a year into his sobriety.
And is
And
that
the
an assumption or did they tell you that?
it's an assumption. It's a very educated guess because so
Mhm.
they moved here because they had hit rock bottom and they moved here to go to a treatment facility and get away from where they were because of alcohol. And so they were doing that and they told me when they moved here, they're like, okay, so I moved here like 2018 and I know the program they went into and the program they went into, how long it lasts. And they talked about, yeah, no, so I did the program, I did all of this. And then, I started working this step and I'm like, okay, based off of what you're telling me, you're just about a year sober.
Ah, okay.
Based off of what you said. Like it's gotta be about a year sober. And a lot of those programs they'll tell you not to date for your first year of sobriety.
Mm.
Don't add a relationship. Like there, it's just not that you can't date. They just tell you it might not be the best thing
And
right
now
now.
right. And um I'm sup I mean, maybe they didn't tell you this before, but gosh, I don't wanna lead you in any one way with this question, so I'll try and ask it as open-ended as possible. How do you think you would, navigate a marriage with somebody who was sober or a
Well,
lifetime
that's
of in
fine.
recovery?
Well, and that's fine, and that's because I do have like I'm very close with one of my uncles who is that I'm his sobriety date. I actually am. So we have a really weird connection because
That weird from the South vibe, but yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but we have this weird because what the day I was born was the day he was also given the ultimatum by the family of you will either be clean and sober or you will be not be part of this child's life or anyone else's life. So
Mhm.
I'm his sobriety date. So that's I'm his favorite niece now. It's just a interesting connection. So it wouldn't be hard for me to live that way. But from talking to Aaron and being on our date, it was very clear to me that like I couldn't have ordered a glass of wine on our date because he would have been uncomfortable with that. Like, he would have been uncomfortable being around me having a drink because
Mhm.
he can't.
Right.
And that's the part where, like, I am fine with if you choose to be sober and, like, I'd be fine even in a marriage where I'm like, so we can't have alcohol in the house because you're sober. But
Mhm.
if we go out for a dinner, I should be able to have a glass of wine. Like, I should be able to go out and have a drink
Right.
because I can.
Right.
Like, it's not a problem for me to do that.
Yeah.
But I understand that you can't. So I just don't think he's at a place where he can actually be in a committed monogamous relationship because I think he's still working on himself and going through the steps. Like that he's, just finishing up a year of sobriety and I think he's still getting used to this new lifestyle.
Okay.
And pretty much our entire conversation was his sobriety. That he just
Mm.
kept and like I would bring in different topics and he would bring it back to his sobriety and how he gotten sober. We'd talk about I'd be like, okay, so what do you do for work? And he'd tell me, I go, so do you like it? Like, how do you like it? He goes, well, yeah, this is great because it's the first time that I'm not just, because I'm sober now that I'm not getting fired because I'm a drunk or I'm not just doing my job so I can buy an 18 pack of beer to go home and drink. So it's like everything rose about his sobriety
Mhm.
and that's nothing wrong. Like I get it, it's a very big part of his life right now. But I don't want every conversation to be about his sobriety. And
Right.
there
So,
wasn't.
being able to leave by 7 ended up being a kind of a good opportunity.
Yes, so it was fine. And like he did pay. He was very sweet. He was very nice. He said that he had fun. He did this. He did, and I will let me pull up his text because he did text me. So that was Friday. We went on that date, and then on Sunday, and I want to say I think you're absolutely sweet and attractive. I also have to say that I'm not entirely in a place where I'm ready for a committed relationship. I'm under the impression that's what you're after, and if so, don't settle for anything short of what you want. If something casual esque is something you may be interested in, let me know. I want to be forthcoming, which I really appreciate. And it sort of
Such a
confirmed.
good text. That's su
It is.
Gentlemen,
And it confirmed
ladies,
everything that I thought.
that is a great text.
Yes. So
That's
I've been bad. I was out on one of my dates when I got that, so I didn't respond. I need to respond to that today.
I will
Because then
say
I was drinking and
interjectively,
I didn't want to drug text him.
you oh my god, that would have been so funny though, like, for me,
It would have
that you
been,
drunk
but I
text
would have felt
a f
so rude for him.
no, it
But
would
so
have been
that's why I
terrible.
haven't responded yet.
But I wanna say, again, I'm gonna point out maybe this was a real good growth week because he did pick up on what you want, and that is what you want. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna we're not and, whether you wanna go down that road of divulging or not, but, we're not here to discuss if you do end up picking up anything casual or whatnot, and that's your business. You do yours,
I
swerve,
believe
baby,
it was,
swerve.
I should say, this place is time. Let's go and see if they show up.
Oh my gosh, that's another challenge down the road, but,
No, you gave it to me last week.
well, yeah,
Go
down the road.
fix it.
Exactly, down the road. Re-listen. Get out of here. Listen to the episode. That's gonna be our catchphrase. Tune in. Shoot, I had it. Anyway, we'll move on. Oh, what I was gonna
But yeah,
that's
no.
right, that's right. You're putting out the vibe that you want something serious, and I think that's an like, again, like, another growth moment. If you were
Yeah,
ever on the fence on if you were presenting that information either verbally, like saying, "I'm looking for something serious," or in however you behaved. So you are. That's great.
yeah. No, so that's good. And no, he's very nice, and I will respond to him back of I'll be nice if I actually picked that up. If that's not what you're interested in.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm like I did enjoy talking to him, and so that's fine. And when we text, so I'll just probably respond with I did pick that up. That's fine. You are right. That's not what I am interested in, a serious commitment. But I'm but don't feel like you can't text me. Like don't feel like you have to delete my number just because we're not going to date each other.
I like that. Oh, I really like that. Okay, I'm over the duds. What happened with date number 2?
We're on date like six.
Oh my god, you nutter. Date number 2 of that night.
Oh, that. Oh my god.
I know I'm
This is
not the
the
best
worst
at
one.
math, but I know we are past date 2.
What the? Oh no. So yeah. So then we get up. I leave. I go to this date. This is. Oh my god. This date is so bad. This date so close to being lemon lawed, and I'll tell you why I didn't lemon law this one either.
Oh, I'm so
But it was cut
excited.
short.
I feel
So
like
first
because
of all,
you have the lemon law power and challenge, I cannot wait until you truly lemon law, and I wanna hear how it feels as, like, power. But okay, this was
so
close.
so leaving, heading there. I'm like, I'm on my way. I'll be there right. We were supposed to meet at 7:30. I said, hey, I'm on my way. My GPS says that I'll be there right at 7:30. He's like,
And
okay, I'll see you then.
where did you meet this person, this guy?
This one's Bumble as well.
Bumble as well? Okay, Bumble's doing real good. And their age
He is 39.
and profession. What is your profession?
He's in real estate or something like that, and I'll explain why I don't really know.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fine. And, that's it, continue on.
okay, yeah, so we were supposed to meet at this sushi place. That's where we were supposed to go. So I was heading there, got like to the sushi, like I was like, hey, I'm just trying to find a parking spot. And he goes, oh my god, this place is so crowded. He goes, let's go to this place instead. And it's a dive bar down the street. That this is like,
Ugh.
hey, let's go to raw sushi. You know what? Instead, let's go to In and Out.
Oh, that's a big change.
Yeah, like a little bit of a difference. And I was looking good again. So I had my jeans on, my hair was done, and then I had this like teal. It's the one that I asked, is this too much cleavage? When I sent you the picture, and I was like, is this too much cleavage?
Oh, and for
Because
those wondering, it's almost. It is
it's a lot of
almost.
cleavage.
Yeah.
I understand it is a lot of cleavage, but I was like, is this
It's
too
a
much?
get out of
So I was
speeding ticket level of cleavage.
Yeah, so I had that top on,
Yeah.
and, a little flat, so I was looking good, and I know I was looking good because as I was walking to meet him at this other so I finally parked, was walking to meet him, I had someone tell me that I was looking good, and when I left and was walking back to my car, I had 2 people tell me that I was looking really good, so I know that I was looking good that night.
Nice.
I feel like this is important. So we get there. I meet him at. There's still a line to get into this bar. It's a dive bar. He's at right at the front, and I go perfect, and I walk up, and it was like the moment he saw me, he was like, "Oh, I'm over this." Like he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna sleep with her, or I'm not." So he was just very stiff and standoffish, and so he wasn't wearing a mask when I first walked up, and it was like, and I can't actually remember if he put it on to walk into the because he had me like walk in front of him, but we went to a table right up front, and I had my mask on, and the server comes up and she's like, "Oh, it's just the two of you. Let me move." They had like two little tables pushed together. She goes, "Let me move this one table. It'll just be you guys." I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." And she goes, "And what do you want to drink?" And I go, "I'll take a Guinness." And he ordered a vodka pineapple.
Oh my
Um,
god! Invite him to the
that's not.
bachelor party.
And then and I, okay, and I turned to him and he goes, "You know, you can take your mask off. We're at the table." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick though, so I'll be right back."
Shoulda lemon lawed right there.
Well, and that's what I was. I went to the restroom, came back, and I was about to be like, "You know what? You obviously have no interests." But I came back, and the drinks were already there, and I do not waste a Guinness. I will not waste a
I
Guinness.
oh, I'm gonna you are so lucky that there's a computer screen. I freaking wanna hit you across the face. Oh my gosh, this freaking rule of yours. Ugh, whatever.
I will not waste. It's
Whatever.
God, Guinness. So no, but so I drank that Guinness, and I was. He was so rude. He was like he wasn't really looking at me. He was looking at everybody else. Like I made comments about like, oh, was it? They went from like in sync, bye bye bye, to my heart will go on, and then it was the B-52s, Love Shack, and I look and go, oh, I go, this is an interesting music selection, and he looks at, and the music is blaring, like I'm like feel like I'm yelling to be heard, and he goes, oh, I can't hear it. I'm like, I'm sorry, and he goes, yeah, it's just too loud. I can't understand what it is, and I'm like, I'm sorry. The Love Shack is a very distinctive beat. You know what the fuck song the Love Shack is.
Yeah. I can't believe he didn't lemon law you. Like, if you're not having a good time, like a date shouldn't be a death sentence.
He also was drinking his drink, like, holding the straw with one hand and
No.
pinky out with the other as he was drinking. So
Get
I
out of
do
here.
question his sexuality because I'm like, you are doing every stereotype. But and then like and so we were trying like I was drinking, I was trying like I would ask a question, like I'd be like, okay, so for work, like, do you like it? Like, explain to me what you do. And he's like, yeah, it's good. And then just would like stop talking. And then he goes, let's do a shot. Do you want to do a shot? And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do a shot. And like I was rolling my eyes, like, yeah, right.
Mhm.
He waves the server down by reaching over another
No.
table and gets her attention. So he comes
No.
and he goes, I'll take 4 shots of Patron Silver.
Oh my gosh. I can't but you know what? Screw your freaking Guinness rule. I can't believe you didn't lemon law this dude.
Well, so no, this is why I then changed. This is because I was pretty much done with my Guinness because I was like, I'm gonna drink this and be gone.
Mhm.
But then because of how he was treating the server, I was like, oh fuck you, I'm not leaving to let you just be a dick to servers. So she came back and like every time I was like, sorry. Like she was standing next by me and I was like, I'm sorry. Like this, I go, and so she goes and then she doesn't come back. She doesn't, and then he just sits there and talks about how she's not getting his shots. And she comes back and again, like leans across another table, waves in her face and has her come back. And it's as the bouncer, as the doorman is walking by, and I made eye contact with the doorman and go, "This is gonna be good." And he looked at me and I pointed and was like, I gave that man. He was very smart and he immediately stopped and turned and sat and stood by our table because I was like, "Oh no, like don't let him talk to her this way. You're a big strong man. You can stand there and do
Yeah.
this for me." So as he's telling her about how I'm watching you give other tables drinks and you haven't gotten mine, she's like, "I'm really sorry." He goes, "Well, this is what." So then she comes back. She brings the shots and he does what he goes. That's not Patron. I go, well, and he goes, so then take a shot. We do this, and I was like, okay, well, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And so I'm getting ready to leave, and he goes, oh, did you want another drink? And I go, no, I got to get home. And he goes, oh, okay. And he stands up, and I was trying to get him to leave before me, mostly because I thought he stiffed the server, because he like got
Oh,
the
okay.
card and he paid the bill, and I was afraid he stiffed the server because he didn't like her. So I
Mhm.
was trying to get him to leave so that I could turn around and like get the bouncer's attention and be like, hey, can you get the server for me? I want to make sure she got a tip. If not, I'll give her a tip because
Mhm.
he was a dick. and he made it very clear that he wanted me to leave. So I was like, "Well, fuck it." I'm like, "Sucks for her. She had a bad person. I'm leaving." I have no doubt that he stayed at the bar and tried to pick up girls. He also kept telling me about
Jeez.
how he's an anti-vaxxer and that he's not going to get the vaccine and how nobody's going to make his son get the vaccine because he has a kid. Nobody's going to make his son get the vaccine, and he's going to homeschool his kid before he lets them get the COVID vaccine because this is an experimental drug that they're putting microchips in your body. And I'm like, okay, you are out there and you're just a jerk.
Yeah. So Friday was a dud.
So yeah, so Friday was a dud, and a lot of it was I felt like as soon as I walked up, and his name is Johnny.
Mhm.
By the way, Dud. So Dud Johnny, like it was like as soon as he saw me, he just thought he was better than me and was like, "Yeah, no, you're not as good as me." And I'm like, I want to be like, "Fuck you, I'm better than you."
Yeah.
Um, so that was Friday. And then Saturday, I had no dates
Okay.
because I had to, actually get shit done. Actually had to do shit with my life. So then I
Yeah,
had
because
Sunday.
you're not just like throwing on clothes and going. I mean, the whole especially like the getting ready, that's at least an hour if not more. Usually more.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm gonna take a night because I'm like, I have to do laundry, I have to put away clothes. I, had to vacuum, I had to clean, like, I'm like, I have to do, like, I have to mop the floors. I'm like, I like to do that once a week, and better do it this time, or I'm never doing this. So that, Saturday was a day for me. Almost ended up going on a date anyways, but then like he was like, we can do this, and I finally was like, I'm sorry, no, no, I can't.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I'm just tired. So then Sunday, I was supposed to, well, and also Saturday, I ended up, I have like a Zoom meeting call with some of my friends that we just discuss like topic. It's supposed to be like a safe place thing of, hey, if there's a topic that you want to talk about, we are a group of people that you can bring it up and safely feel like you can act like it. Like one of my friends, it was he brought up that he wanted to know the difference between the BLM movement and the group. He goes, I just want to make sure that the right one is getting support. He goes, because if you go on the BLM.com, he goes, you're hearing about what they're his concern was. He goes, how do you know which one is actually helping and getting it to the Black Lives Matter like group, like which, because there were, I don't know if you remember, there were people who were like scamming it. They were people who were making very official websites, and they were pretty much just taking like the pipeline, that it was the all the
Right.
veterans that a couple years ago wanted to go protest at the pipeline, and there was a guy who pretty much just took all their money and put them on buses and was like, good luck, I took all your money. Like that. That's a very brief description. There's a lot more that
Right.
went into
Yeah.
it, so don't come after me, people. But like things like that. That's what he wanted a safe zone to be able to say, like somebody like help me. What which ones are the ones that you should be supporting? Which ones are the ones actually doing things? Which that's a touchy subject to bring up because people could you know how do you explain to somebody, I want to support BLM, but I don't know which one actually supports the Black
Mhm.
Lives Matter movement.
Right.
So I had that was my group Saturday. I had that group meeting, and that this topic was men and women's. Um, so I laugh at this because it was a single man who chose this topic. I wanted to talk about men and women's roles in the marriage according to the church. To which I laughed because I'm like, a single man is the one who wants to know this. Shouldn't Okay. I just would have thought, wouldn't you want to know about dating according to the church, not marriage? But okay. Um, silly me. I thought step one.
Mhm.
But so that was so Saturday, and then I ended up going. I went to one of my friends' houses to do the Zoom. So the two of us were together, and we ended up sitting around talking until like 4 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
So, which is why I slept through my date on Sunday morning.
Gotcha.
So I was supposed to get up and meet somebody for coffee for them, tea for me Sunday morning, and we were gonna go on a hike. That was what we were gonna do, um, which is perfect because we are gonna do that, and then I had to go to my friend's birthday brunch. So I overslept, missed date one, woke up, texted them, said, I am so sorry. I'm sorry I missed this. And, we rescheduled. And they're like, actually, it worked out great because I slept in too. So I was like, perfect. It just was not meant to be that day. So then I went to my friend's birthday brunch.
Love
And then
it.
I went to my first date of the day
Okay.
with the teacher
And
because
how did you meet?
we met on Hinge.
Okay. Hinge is back on the board. And how old are they?
He is 38.
Okay, I'm loving this range. Okay.
So he's 38. We met at a coffee shop that was happened to be. I told him I was doing brunch in downtown, and so he picked a coffee shop close to downtown so that I wouldn't. So he goes, "Well, I'll drive down there, so it's easier for you to meet up with me after brunch. So it'll be closer to where you are." So went and met up with him. We had and I just left brunch. So I got there. He already had a cup of coffee. He offered to get me coffee or a tea or anything I wanted. And I said, that's really nice. I go, but I just don't really want anything right now.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay. But we sat around. We were talking for like an hour and a half, and then he was like, I know you said you don't want coffee, but like, do you want anything? And I was like, no, I really just don't want a tea right now. And so my friends from the brunch had gone to a bar, and we're on the bar's patio, and he said, "Oh, do you want to go grab like a beer or something?" And I go, "Well, actually, my friends from brunch are still they're on a patio. If you wanted to just go join them." And he said yes. So he actually went from just coffee with me to a it was so it was my friend Jackie, her boyfriend Andrew, and Mara. So it was the three of them sitting on the patio. So we went and I texted them saying we were on our way. So we went and joined them, and they had put their names in for the beer pong table. So we happened to get there right when it became open. So
Awesome.
we played beer pong, and if anybody's wondering how you play beer pong right now during COVID, is they put water in the cups and you just drink from your own cup. That it's you play, but you're not actually drinking from cups and like
Nice.
spilling
Okay.
beer everywhere. It's just water and ping pong balls. But yeah, no. So we played beer pong. We won actually. We won the game.
Congratulations.
But yeah, so he did buy my beer, and he was quick. Like he had his wallet out when we got up to the bar to order. He had pulled his wallet out beforehand, and like he ordered, and he goes, "What would you like?" And made it clear that he was getting my drink without saying, "Hey, I'm getting your drink." But yeah, so we had our beer. We played beer pong. It was fun. Like it was, we had a good time hanging out. And then I told him that I had to get home to take care of my dog. Which, thank goodness, my friend, because she was drunk because it was her birthday, but at least didn't say it out loud, because I could tell her look on her face was, you don't have to go take care of your dog. Your dog has a doggy door. Like, what do you mean you have to go?
Right.
But he was like, yeah, no, I should get going too, because he is a teacher, so he had to be up this morning early to teach.
Right.
Um, but he walked me back to my car. I got a quick like a peck kiss. But he did say that he had a really good time. He'd like to do this again, and we actually already have tentative plans for Friday.
Okay.
So yeah, no, we have plans
And
for
wait, did you ever
Friday.
say this one's name? I don't think so.
No, I just called him the teacher.
Oh,
It's
so this
not a
is another
normal.
nickname. Okay, the
Yeah,
teacher.
so the
Oh,
teacher.
I like this.
So yeah, so the teacher.
And then did you have one more today?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I had one more that day.
oh my
That
gosh.
was
Oh my gosh.
Sunday. So then I left that. So I left to saying I had to go take care of my dog, but I didn't. I actually had another date lined up. But I like the teacher. He was fun to talk to. I do want to go on a second date. He's my height. He's traveled. He comes from a like educated family that education is important to him as well. Um, and he's close to his family. So I was like, yeah, no, this is cool. I want to go on another date. So we do have those tentative plans. And he also has half of his vaccine. So, because we're going out Friday, because Saturday he's getting his second shot, and he goes, I know people who probably have reactions, mostly have reactions to the second shot, so I
Yeah.
don't want to make a plan in case I'm not feeling well after I get it. So that's why we're going out Friday instead. So that was fun. So then I went to my second date of Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the second date that I made on Sunday. Um, and this is with the bartender.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So
the
again,
bartender. And where did you meet how did you meet this bartender or this one?
from Bumble. So
Bumble
I met the
and their
bartender on
age.
Bumble. He is 30. I have a sheet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
She's
I
looking it
have a
up.
sheet. Do, 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 do,
I
do,
know we need
do,
some music.
do.
Okay, what time did you meet him?
36.
36. Okay.
Um, so so our date was at 5. Okay, so brunch was 11. Met my first date at 2:30. Left late. Left at like 10 minutes to 5 for a 15-minute drive. So I had to text and say, I'm really sorry, I hit traffic on my way. And he knew, the bartender knew. I had told him I was coming from brunch with my friends. So I already warned him, I go, I'm sorry ahead of time. I will probably be late, like a couple minutes. I go, because we like to talk. And so sometimes I lose track of times when I'm with them.
That's right.
So
Blame other people. I loved it. She's a
yeah,
blame
that's what I wrote.
shifter. Okay. We've
Hey, it's
established a
working.
liar and a blame shifter. Got it. Okay.
Uh, but good lies. But then so I met up with him. We met up at this pizza place, and this is where I made my mistake of the night. I ordered an old fashioned because I like old fashions. And then I thought halfway through this date, oh shit, I'm drinking with a bartender. This is gonna end badly. So up to this point, I had been at brunch, so I had a cocktail at brunch, and then we had the beer where we played beer pong. So I'm like, so that's I've had those.
That's
And
2 in, yeah.
then
Over a
yes,
period of
that's
time,
two.
though.
Yeah, I mean, like from 11 to, and like I had sips of other people's drinks. So we'll say I had 3 drinks total, over a 5 hours period or whatever. So I was fine to drive there. But then I get there, I have an old fashioned. He ordered, because every time he ordered himself a drink or he saw my drink at low, he would order me a drink. But it was old fashions that I was drinking. So I had 4 old fashions while we were at dinner.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
he was drinking Jack and Coke. So I mean, mostly Coke with like a shot. Like, I know it's still alcohol, but there's a big difference between Jack and Coke and just a glass of bourbon. I mean, I know
Yeah.
that's not how you make an old fashioned. There's other stuff in there, but it's a
But
glass of
no,
bourbon
it's both
compared to a
basically a
Coke.
glass of bourbon.
Yeah. So I'm like, so there's a difference between that. So I was feeling great. But we were having a lot of fun. It was really, we were talking, we were going back and forth. Um, he knows about this podcast because he has Sunday and
He
Mondays
heard
off.
the episode!
No,
No.
no, yeah.
Oh.
He was trying to get me to go out with him on Monday, this past Monday, because that's his day off. And I was like, no, I can't. He goes, oh, what? You got like, and made a joke about, like, got something else? And I go, well, I'm doing a podcast. He goes, when I go, I record a podcast Monday night, so I just can't go out Monday nights. Sorry. So then he goes, well, what's your podcast about? And I go, I'll tell you. I go, I'll tell you about it when we meet. Like, let's not tell you over text. Let me tell you in person.
Mhm.
So so we met and he asked me about it and I go, well, it's actually a podcast about my dating life. And I was like, I told him about the article and he goes, wait, so am I going to be on it? I go, well, I mean, yeah, but you know, I'm not going to be like, here's your name, here's how to find you. Mostly it's, what I learned from, it will be like what I learned from our date.
Yeah.
If there's anything I learned about myself. But then, so we just continued going and he was like, oh, that's cool. And then we talked about because then he was like, well, what do you mean? I go, like talking about bad dates. And he's like, well, what do you mean bad dates? And so
What did
I
you
told him my
use
trump
as an
card.
example?
I used my trump card date example of when my car got towed.
Oh my god, that was such a bad day! Oh, we were living together, it was so bad, it was so
It was
ridiculous.
because that's when we were living together and I met a guy at a dive bar.
Yeah, of
And this is
course.
way pre-COVID. This is when I'm a poor college student. Um, Met a guy at a dive bar, thought I was smart enough because, yeah, we exchanged numbers, but I was like, hey, I was drinking, I was at a dive bar. So when he texted me the next day, we did the coffee meet date beforehand to make sure. And I was like, we're gonna meet for coffee first to make sure that he's not a creeper or weirdo.
Yeah.
And I brought our other roommate at the time, Natalie, came with me to the coffee date. And he bought her drink as well. So I'm like, this is actually really good. It's going to be. And he had told me, he goes, hey, I'm a Steelers fan. He's like, I know you're a Steelers fan. There's a Steelers game on tomorrow. Why don't you come over to my place? I'm gonna grill steaks and I'll make dinner for us and it'll be great. So I went to his place because poor college student. He's gonna give me a steak and I get to watch football. Yes, I'm there.
Yeah.
Uh, Hell, I'd still go today. But he he met me. He told me where to park. Like he met me in the parking lot, told me where to park, met me in my car, said yes, my car was fine there. We go into his place, and he's like he goes, and your perfect timing, like the steaks are done, like he's putting food on a plate, and I'm looking around and I'm noticing that there's wedding photos where he's the groom in the wedding photo, and there's kids' toys around, and again I'm like, so there's
Whoa.
kids' toys, you are in wedding photos, and I'm like, and he goes, yeah, I make it. And I go, would you like to explain something?
Who is this Modern Family?
Yeah, so he told me about how, yeah, no, he's married, he has kids. His wife and kids are in Texas right then, but they have an open marriage and they're looking to add someone in so that she can watch when they're over. And I'm like, so I'm getting creeped out by the instant.
Well, yeah, and
Um,
also I feel like a lot of men are like, "I'm in an open marriage when my wife's not here." Like, no, sir.
Oh, no, the wife definitely knew about me by the end because so by the time I had politely, because this is also when I'm like, 19, I'm like 18, or sorry, I was not 19, I was in a bar. So this is when I was just like, oh, I just turned 21. So I was like 21, 22. So I was still like, how the hell do you get out of here like not awkwardly? And I'm like, I'm in his house. Like now I really do question if he's a serial killer. Maybe I got the wrong vibe. So I get myself out and I'm like, okay, well, I have to go home and study, so I'm sorry, I have to go.
Mhm.
And he goes and I go to my car and my car's gone.
Yeah.
And so then I had to go back. I had to go back to his door, knock on it, and go, my car's gone. And he's like, what do you mean? Walk back out where? I go, my car was here. It's gone. And I was stupid. And what I would do is I put my purse in my glove box. So I put it in there. So I also only had my phone on me. Like I didn't have
Oh,
my wallet.
no.
So then he had to call his wife to figure out where they towed the car, then drive me to the yard where my car was towed, where he was yelling, and then I had to go tell him, hey, but you have to let me into the car so I can get you my ID to prove that I'm like my name and everything for the car. Like I had to prove who I was, but you have my wallet. Like you need to let me into the car to do it.
Yeah.
And like I have the car key, I can unlock it for you. Like
Mhm.
so that was a horrible, horrible date. Yeah, that was bad. Johnny was about the same level in my mind, but
Oh,
my car was towed.
God.
But yeah, so no, so I told him about my car being towed. Like we talked about some other bad dates. He's like, "This is funny." He goes, "I'd listen to that stuff." And so yeah, and then we were done with dinner. We were fun. I called my roommate because thankfully he had picked a restaurant that was really close to where I live.
Yeah.
So I called my roommate and she walked over because we
Mhm.
were like a 5-minute walk from this place. Mostly because I just didn't want my car there overnight. I was like, oh, then I'm gonna wake up in the morning and not have my car, and I don't want to stumble. I'm like, this one, I'm like, I know I'm drunk. And he looks at me, and goes, but hey, let's go have another drink at T's down the street, which is another dive bar. And I was like, it's the what? Remember Unsolved Mysteries night?
Oh, God.
It's that bar. It's
Nope.
that bar.
Nope.
So so my roommate came, picked us up, and drove us. And he was very much like, he goes, I was going to get an Uber. I was going to get something. He goes, you don't have to drive us. And I go, literally, it's 5 minutes. I go, I want my car at home. Like, I'm asking, not you. We got it. I'm the one asking. So drives us there, drops us off, and we go in. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to slow down. So I'm going to switch to a beer. And then he started ordering shots of whiskey.
Nope.
So think we did 4 or 5 shots of whiskey at the bar while we were there.
This doesn't sound like
And
fun.
it was fun. The problem was I was trying to keep up with somebody who was going out drinking that night, apparently. Like, we were
I
having fun. It was
guess.
stupid decisions. It was
Yeah.
stupid decisions. But yeah, so then I kissed him. 'Cause I was like, I'm gonna make
I'm
out
just
with
gonna
you
drop
now.
that in, yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna start making out with you now because we're here at the bar. So yeah, we were making out a little bit at the bar, and then I looked down and was like, crap, it's like 10:30,
Uh-huh.
and I have to be up for work in the morning because well, he has Monday off, I don't.
Right.
So I called my roommate. I was like, "Can you come get me now that you've dropped me off?" And she was not when she dropped us off. She had told me she goes, "Just call me. I'll come get you."
Mhm.
So because she's a night owl, so she came and got me, and I came stumbling out. Got in the car. I was
Mhm.
like, "Let's go home." And
Jeez.
then, but no, it was really fun. He has texted me today. He was like, "Did you get home okay?" He goes, "Yeah, we definitely." He was yeah. It was one of those. We were both like we drank way too much, and we were drinking as if we were stupid 21-year-olds.
Right.
Um,
Wow.
so yeah. So, but he has texted me. He's asked me to go out again. It was
Okay.
fun. Like I had a good time. So I told him yes, yeah, we'll go out again. Not so much drinking this time.
Okay.
I'm like, let's go out and not binge drink. But yeah, so that was last night's.
Mhm.
And then I woke up this morning and I was hurting. I was hurting.
Yes. You made mention in our morning text message exchange.
Yeah, I was very, very hungover.
But you had
Uh,
another date today, right?
yes, so then I go to
Wow.
work, and then after work, I was supposed to go and get drinks with Rick, who I met on Hinge. But didn't for some reason today I just did not feel like a drink. It's
Oh,
weird
it's
how that
so
happened.
weird. I wonder why.
Yeah, it was weird. I just didn't feel like a drink. So instead, we went and got ice cream,
Oh,
which
cool.
oh, I will send you a hang on. Everybody has to pause for a second while I send her a picture because you have to see my ice cream.
Oh, it was one of
Trust
those
me, it
cool
is going
places.
to it was. It has a baby Yoda on it.
Well, in a couple months, I mean, if this
He'll
place is
be out
cool,
here.
I know, and we can go, but I was saying, yeah, in a couple months, we'll be doing at least one episode together in the same room, if not two or three.
Oh, and I will give you so one of our mutual friends here, their idea is that on one of these dates right,
I
isn't it great? She
Will
just
you
got the
take
picture of
me
this
there?
and it's
Yeah.
so good. Yeah, no, we'll go there. Their drinks are fun too. Oh yeah, no, we'll go there. It's a fun place.
Once
Um,
once we decide to drop Susie's, first of all, real name and real location, there's a list of places. We'll link actually, we'll try and link every date spot, or,
yeah.
just so when the time comes, we'll just say, if you wanna go on the 200 date map, then you
You're more than welcome.
just the itinerary, yeah.
But yeah, no, so we went there for ice cream, which was a lot of fun. No, it was so we met for ice cream instead. We were talking the whole time. Mostly it was him talking and asking questions, and so that was fun. But he's really close with his family, so I like that. But he kept bringing up money. Like he was telling me about his like how he got to where what job he's in now. I mean, we work in the same field. So, but he was talking about how he got to where he was, but it was like, yeah, I worked at and also it just didn't seem very motivated because he told me first about how like he went to like 4 different high schools and it was because he just wasn't going to school in high school. So the high school like pulled him aside and was like, you're gonna be like 20 by the time you graduate, so we need to not have you. You need to go to this different high school. You can't keep coming to this one. You got to go to the one for kids who are gonna be 20 when they graduate. And then he was going there and they were like, you're still not going to school. You can't. You're gonna be like 25 by the time you graduate. You can't be here. So like he like didn't ever finish high school really, but then got his GRE.
GED.
GRE, is that the right one?
No.
GED, thank you. I'm like, there's
You take
letters,
the
there's
GRE
letters.
to get into graduate school.
I
Well,
knew
I took
letters
the
were involved.
GRE.
Don't make fun of the dyslexic. Uh, there was letters. I got one of them right. Uh, but yeah, no. So he was telling me about that, but it was. I mean, that's a little bit of a turnoff on me because I'm like, you're not motivated. You weren't motivated enough to finish high school or like for
Yeah.
that education thing. And
Mhm.
like, but then he's telling me like, he worked at Target and like he was doing this, but then they weren't really giving him raises, and then he went to this job because they were going to give him more money so they could do this, and then he did that. Like it was very money driven in my mind
Gotcha.
of why he's made the decisions he has for as far as his career, and they worked out. But I was like, eh. I mean, he did pay. The other thing that was a turn off to me was like at the end, I was like, thank you. I was like, yeah, thank you. Like this is a lot of fun. I go, thank you so much. He goes, yeah. He goes, yeah. And then next time you can get me ice cream or something. Which I mean, that's not a problem. But I want to be like, you. Not. It wasn't a hey, do you want to hang out again? It was a we're going to hang out again, and you're gonna pay. That
Yeah.
it was how it was phrased. It's how it was phrased, like the we're gonna hang out again and you're gonna pay. And I wanted to be like, why don't you start with the question of do you want to hang out again?
Yeah. But
Like
I
that.
would think then, what do you think you're gonna do? Would you give this person a second chance, or do you feel like you're at a point where you can confidently, you is it worth your time?
No. Because it's also and it's nothing this is nothing like looks or whatever, like even like that he said anything really bad. It was just one of those I'm about it. Like I don't the best part about the date was the ice cream and it was a very cute ice cream and I
Yeah,
sent it to you.
I
I'm like,
can't wait. You're
but he's
taking me
just
there. You're
Yeah, but
taking me
he's
to
just
this ice cream place. Gotcha.
Like
Okay.
the conversation wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. He's not amazing looking. He's not bad looking. It just it does nothing for me. He does nothing for me.
Oh my god, I can't wait until he listens to this and he hears how you prophetically go on to make sure our listeners know Nothing
Eh,
about this individual set you ablaze. Well, okay, so we
yeah, there is no fire in my loins for this one.
are we now 1 full month in?
Not yet. We only
Uh,
started.
no, I'm gonna have to go back and check the transcripts, but I do think
We
that we
started the
are.
first of the month.
Well, can you count? We're both.
We started the first of the month. We have one more week. The
We did
29th will
start
be
the
the
first
last
of the
of this
month.
month.
You're right, because
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
that's the we are okay. All right. So yeah, we're not done with the month, but how my brain does months is if there's 4 weeks, so we are in our 4th week.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Whatever.
I'm
Okay.
like, "No, it's not." But yeah, no, so that,
That's
um and
so
I have to switch to the actual planner with dates in it.
okay.
So because yeah, no, so if you're wondering, so for this week already, because I had the one date today, um, I'm supposed to have a date tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure all he wants is sex. Like from what he's saying, I'm like, oh, you just want to hook up, so I'm probably gonna cancel it
Mhm.
because when I said, any ideas of what you want to do, it was play the game of you can't make a sound while I try and make you orgasm. So I think he's
Um,
pretty clear that all he wants is
sweetie.
sex.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm gonna cancel that one.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Then Wednesday, I'm supposed to meet up with Mike, who I met on Hinge, at a restaurant by the office. So I'll be going from work to there.
Mhm.
And then Friday, I'm supposed to be seeing the teacher again. And then
I'm
on Saturday morning, I have a breakfast date
with the king?
with, no, with Sam. I think Sam's his name. Is that what his name is? Hang on.
Okay. I'm
Yeah, Sam.
loving this, and we've run a bit long, and I think everyone got a little bit of insight into some of the bad dates we have been on. If they're bad with us and we're talking about them, they're really bad and very bizarre. But thank you all for tuning in. We are officially 10 we Susie is officially 10 dates down, 190 to go. And that is on our pursuit of love in the millennia and 200 first dates. So we will check in
Yeah.
next week.
Boy,